I'm Erin, I'm APMP's content manager, and you're watching On the Record with APMP. Today I'm joined by Sam Keay, who's going to talk to us about self-advocacy.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I bought you a little fidget spinner or a little fidget toy. I think I'm Nora's Bizy, and it's something that keeps so it helps keep my mind occupied enough to be able to say the words.
Great,
It's something that the Mental Health Affinity Group and anybody neurodivergent, I think it's a useful thing. So shout out to the Affinity Group.
So just to start off nice and basic, what is self-advocacy and why is it important?
I think from my perspective, it's something that's so important for your career development. You have to be able to communicate the value that you add and the contribution that you make, because particularly in the proposal world, we can often go undervalued or underappreciated. And I think it's really important in making sure that the organisation knows the impact that you're making. And so it's being unapologetically communicative about the impact that you make.
Yeah, definitely. How does that help drive your career?
I think it helps you identify different opportunities and understand what it is that your strengths are and where you want to take your career. From my perspective, it has opened up different opportunities through networking, and it builds your confidence in yourself. But self-advocacy is so directly linked to self-belief and self-worth, and the more confidently you talk about yourself and the more you communicate your value, you start to believe it and recognise it, and so you sort of build up your own confidence and ability, and it just helps you drive forward, and it really steers conversations around your career growth. What are your goals? What do you want to get out of it? You talk about if you want to have a specific salary increase, or there's a specific skill or a promotion. It all helps you enable and drive and push towards that. So it's about not accepting what's given to you. It's about asking for what you want and believing that you deserve what it is that you're looking for.
Absolutely. I think it definitely is incredibly important to grow your career, but it's also really difficult, I think, because for a lot of us, it runs completely counter to what we naturally would do.
Definitely, and I think it is something that has been sort of instilled in everybody to promote being humble or modesty over self promotion. And I think particularly in the proposals world, where sometimes the roles are unknown, you have to make your voice heard, you have to have your value recognised, and that's all about building your own personal brand, your team's brand, and really making people understand who you are, what you do and why you're here, which sometimes is, I've said it to people before, I work in proposals and I just look at their vacant expression, and so it's really changing the way that you communicate. And again, I'll keep coming back to it, it's communicating your value, your contribution and the impact back to the organisation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the way you said that there, like I work in proposals, I feel like a lot of people, their go-to response when they're faced with what's that is to kind of downplay it in a humorous way, rather than really emphasize the strategic function that you're a part of.
Yeah, I've had people say to me like, oh, it's okay, we don't need the document formatting. Great.
Okay.
But what I can do is this. And so I think it is just addressing that misconception that this is an administrative role. Yes, there are administrative elements to it, but it is a key strategic role. We drive revenue, we support sales, and we work cross-functionally across an organisation, so we have great visibility into who can help or where there are gaps, and so it is really vital.
So as a proposal professional then, do you have any tips and tricks for self-advocacy?
I do. So
I'm so glad.
I have quite a few, so bear with me while I look at my notes. I've captured 10 that I found in my experience has worked well for me. The list isn't exhaustive, and so there are lots of other ways of doing it, but these are just from my experience, the things that have worked. So number one is map your goals, and I think that is really important because you need to have buy-in into help you get where you're going, and your manager can't help you get somewhere that they don't know exists. And so work out what it is that you want out of your career. And the way that I recommend going about that is work out what your baseline is. So what are the things that your current role should be addressing, from responsibilities, salary, all of those things, that should be where you're at now. And from there, you can then look at what your better and best looks like. And I think the challenge for me, and I'm sure a lot of other people, is that in the proposals industry, we've kind of fell into it, and it's not necessarily a defined path. And so it's okay to not know what your direction is. And you can think about it in smaller terms. So is there a specific skill that I want to gain experience in? Is there a certification? Is there, a project that I want to develop a skill in or learn more about? And I think it can be as small as that to start mapping how you want to progress, because it can change. Our careers are dynamic, and you could think about have an experience in one thing and then decide that's something that I love, and so that's how you map it. And it really helps then align with your manager, so that they can help get you there. And so that's one of the first things that I would say.
That's amazing, and I feel like especially for younger professionals, that's really important. I feel like when we first enter a career, we're looking to our manager to tell us where to go, and the idea of taking that power back and being like, where do I want to go?
Exactly.
And how can you help me get there?
For sure, exactly, because I think it's about aligning support and communicating what it is that you need, because this is your career, it's not a hobby, and so you should be in control. You should steer it and get out of it what you want to, because there are plenty of other things we'd rather be doing as our hobbies, but this is something that we get paid to do, and we want to get out of it exactly what we need.
And it helps you from going down a career path and ending up, at retirement age, realising that you didn't really want to be there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, as I said before, it's less about waiting for something to be given to you. Yeah. You work out what you want and you go and get it.
I love this, and you can revisit it, I suppose.
For sure, yeah. It's completely dynamic, and the more that you advocate for yourself and get hold of different opportunities, the brighter your horizons become, and the more opportunities that you can try and experience to map out what it is that you want to go and where you want to go. So that was number one. And sorry, just going back to the mapping the goals, that can also be salary. I think that can be seen as a very dirty word or an uncomfortable thing to know, but I always have a number that I want to get to, a role that I want to, or a level that I want to get to. And I think making sure that your manager has visibility of that is super important, because again, they can't help you get somewhere that they don't know exists. So just that really strong alignment of expectations is going to really help. So number two, which is another really powerful one, is owning your one-to-ones with your manager. They are for your benefit. So the way that I think about it and the way that I manage my team is I am helping them to ride a bike, and so I'm here to help make sure that they are staying on the bike and not falling on the road. But they're responsible for pedalling, steering, and that's the kind of approach that I have. And so one-to-ones are such a powerful tool, because your manager should be your second biggest advocate, but you have to be your first. And so build a strong relationship with them. Understand what they need from you, and vice versa. Manage your manager, because you need to understand, or they need to understand what you need in terms of support. And that's something that I ask my team. The way that I work is, let me flap my wings and I will come back to you and ask for support or guidance. But let me fly and try things out. That doesn't work for everybody, and everybody is so unique. So have the conversation with your manager. Let them know how you like to be managed, and what kind of level of support you need, because it's difficult to know. There is not a one-size-fits-all. So vocalise your needs and have them met, and then you'll find that partnership shifts with your manager, that it's less about going to them to tell you what to do. It's much more of a strategic partnership where they are aligned, they understand where you want to go, and they'll help you get there.
Yeah, I love that idea of working with your manager as a partner. I think that's really powerful.
Definitely. And I think the other thing as well is, from my perspective as well, when I'm doing my one-to-ones with my team, when they come with a full agenda and they get from me what they need, it shows me that they're in control of things. And I think that's really powerful, because it makes it so easy for me to think or to assess their readiness for the next challenge, the next level of responsibility. I always say that I don't want to pull information from them. I want them to come driven and ready to get from me what they need, because I am here to make sure that they can flap their wings and fly, rather than me pushing them out of the nest, basically. It's one of my absolute favourites, because I think everybody feels like an imposter at times, and so this is a really good confidence booster. It's essentially a living document that you update all of the things that you're working on, whether it's a key strategic project, RFP wins, all of the small stuff, because as much as they want to be, your manager's not omnipresent, and so they only know the things that you tell them that you're doing. And so, have you ever gotten to your end of year reviews and think, I can't remember what I did in January. So this is it completely combats that by keeping a quarterly or a monthly track of all the different things that you've worked on. And here's the thing that I love the most, is that you tie every single activity to a core value or a company OKR or a company goal, because nothing that you do should just be because. You always have to think about what's the impact, the why. Why am I doing this, and why should my manager, why should the organisation care about it? We've all said, I've worked on X number of RFPs, but so what? Tie everything that you do back to a company value, because that is the language that the whole company understands and speaks. So that's how you communicate your impact and your value. And I think one of the things as well in there is how does it link to your own personal goals, and what is it? And I think you can include things like feedback that you've had, learning opportunities that you've done a certification in or something like that. And it also identifies then, as you're going through the year and tracking, are there any specific goals that I'm missing that I need to focus a little bit more on? So it really helps you steer your ship. And I use my hype doc every quarter just to make sure that I don't share it with my manager, because it's my own personal document, and it's something that I'll make sure that everybody has access to if they choose to use it. But I use it to steer the conversations, to make sure that I'm saying to my manager on our one-to-ones, oh, this is the thing that I'm working on and this is why it's important or valuable, just to kind of create that transparency so that my manager quickly knows exactly all the things I'm working on, I'm engaged, and I'm doing stuff that matters.
I love this because it's not even just for within that one company.
Yeah.
You've then got a list of things you can put on CVs.
Exactly.
How many people realise they need to leave a job and then they're like, oh, I haven't
done my CV for 8 years.
I need to put bullet points of the last 8 years, what do I do? And then
For
you've got all this evidence for it.
Definitely. And one of my favourite phrases around the hype document is it gives you the golden threads to weave into your end of year write-ups to show the receipts. It's not just statements of I've done this, it's backed up by experience, and also always loops back to the impact, the why. Yeah. Why should the organisation care that you have done X, Y, Z? Because this is essentially your end of year review is the thing, a lot of the thing that decides what your wage or increases are, what your opportunities are. So why wouldn't you want to go fully loaded at that and show and shine and demonstrate why you're awesome and why you deserve what you're asking for? Yeah. So the hype doc is one of my favourite things.
I love that. Also from a personal perspective, if you struggle with imposter syndrome or you just feel really like, oh, I'm useless, you have something, evidence that you can be like, oh, actually, okay, I guess I did pretty well this year.
Exactly, because everybody feels like an imposter sometimes. If they say that they don't, they're a liar. And I think when you look at your hype doc, you think, actually, I'm doing better than I think. I'm just having an off day, and I think it's a really good confidence booster. There is, I will share the document. There is a Spotify playlist, a hype playlist. I think get your headphones in, just tweak it however you want, but put an empowering playlist on that makes you feel good, and just get in and be like, yes, I'm awesome, this is why, and just keep going back to it. Update it monthly, weekly, whatever cadence works for you. Update it, because it's only as beneficial as the information that's within it. So favourite one. Yeah,
definitely.
So the fourth one we have is your elevator pitch. So have you heard, you know what an elevator pitch is, right? Do you have one for yourself?
No.
I've
never thought of doing that.
A lot of people haven't thought about that as well, and it's something that occurred to me because, like I said before, when I've said to somebody, I work in proposals, just vacant expression. And I think particularly in the proposals industry, we have to communicate why we're valuable. So I'll give you an example. Rather than I manage the proposal team, which doesn't convey a lot, I've updated it to I manage a global team of proposal managers, and we generate multi-million dollars of revenue every year by competitively pitching our products and services to customers.
Whoa.
Mic drop. Come see how good I look.
Well, that's the thing. Both of those are the same thing in factual terms, but they just convey such different things.
And words are powerful, and I think
powerful.
You have to communicate your value in a way that resonates with somebody else.
And that'll resonate with anybody.
Exactly.
Everyone understands the language of I generate lots of money.
Yeah. Exactly. And you can include all the things or anything in there that makes you feel like it explains the role that you do. So you work cross-functionally, you're a partner, you drive strategy, all of those things. Just keep it short, sweet, sexy. Make sure that it impresses whoever that you're talking to, because and it actually communicates what it is that you do and the why. Always bring it back to the why and the impact.
I love that.
Okay, so the next one is switching up your vocabulary. I am guilty of this.
I feel like I'm about to be attacked.
I feel, yeah, and I'm sorry. We all are. Just.
Yeah.
Use just. Just wanted to ask you.
Oh.
Your words again have power, and don't give your power away by making yourself small, excusing the fact that you exist. Take up space, keep your power, and communicate with confidence, because confidence gives the illusion of credibility, which you then back up with your actions. Mm-hmm. And if you're talking to somebody and they sort of they want to excuse themselves for existing because they need something, it already damages the people's perception of you, rightly or wrongly. It's something that we're all in the habit of doing. So things like, sorry to bother you. I say it all the time. I'm trying not to, because you're not a bother. Whoever you're asking for some information from, some help from, they're not doing you a favour. They're a partner to you. They should be helping you and providing the support that you need. Don't apologise for existing.
Okay.
Don't say sorry for existing. But it's all about, when you think about it, it's all about the language that you use and the impression that you give. Particularly in the proposals where I've experienced it myself, that you do feel like a bother. You do feel like a nag. You have to be.
A bunch of teams.
Yeah, exactly. And so you can try to shift that language to be, I need this from you, and then be grateful after they've done it. I think that's a really important one. Similarly with being over thankful, thank you so much for doing this very mediocre thing that you should have done 2 weeks ago. I think it's make the gratitude level with the actual impact or outcome of something, because the more that you overly thank somebody, they're going to think that they've done you a huge favour, and it's going to make you feel like you're in imposition again. Thank somebody for helping you, and keep it at that. You don't need to, unless it's something amazing, just keep it as a thank you. Thank you for your help.
This is so important for proposal professionals. I'm just looking at the way we talk about SMEs, SMEs, and bugging them for the things that they need to provide you with. But bid and proposal professionals generate something like 40% of revenue. It's very important work that you're doing.
Exactly.
And a lot of the organisation is reliant on you doing it well. So therefore, receiving that information from an SME isn't this massive favour. It's important, and the more you act like it is a huge favour, I guess the more you reinforce that idea that the proposal function is an administrative role rather than a strategic one.
It's a strategic partnership, and so you don't have to feel like you're in a position that you need to apologise for needing something. The beauty of proposals is that they're so collaborative. You need input from everybody, and your role as a proposal manager is making sure that you're getting what you need, and that's a very strategic thing that needs to be done. And so tell people what you need from them, and don't apologise for needing it.
Great, I love this.
Oh, one of my most hated, if that makes sense.
Why are you attacking me?
I know, I'm sorry. I want you to come out of this feeling good, but we have to we have to suck out the poison first. If that makes sense, or does that make sense? If you have to ask if that makes sense, it immediately makes it look like you don't know what you're talking about. The other thing is just pause.
That was me doing it.
It feels horrible, right?
Yeah.
That felt like an hour to me.
Uh-huh.
But the weight of that pause, just waiting for, because you know what you're talking about, and as you say something, it takes a couple of seconds for someone to process what it is that you've said.
Yeah.
And so just a pause, and if they have questions, they'll ask. You don't have to assume that what you've said doesn't make sense or that it needs clarification. Let them ask. And if you feel like you need to pad or buffer, feel free to ask me any questions, or if you have any questions, let me know. Don't diminish yourself for anybody's benefit, because you're good at what you do, and you're good at what who you're working with. So
great.
So 6 is networking and mentorship. They are the most valuable things in your career development, to all of the things. Raises your brand in an organisation by people knowing your name, understanding what people do, how they work together, what their challenges are. It's all about understanding what they do and sharing your frustrations, your challenges, your goals as a team, because I think the more visibility you have, the more people are aware of you, and people start to mention your name in conversations and rooms that you're not part of, because they know that this is the skill that you have, this is what you're looking to do, and I think the power is unlimited in that respect.
Absolutely. I feel like networking can be scary for a lot of people.
I am an introverted extrovert. The thought of networking makes me feel like this. But I think being comfortable, being uncomfortable is a really important part of growth. And it's not a nice and easy thing to do, but that's because it's growth, which can be uncomfortable. But the benefit of doing it far outweighs it. And I think I've done a lot of research into why networking or the social interactions can have an effect on people, and psychologically fear and excitement generate the same response in your brain. So if you tell yourself that you're excited about something, you will feel that's the way that you will sort of associate that experience. So rather than focusing on a potential negative outcome, which is fear, be positive about a great outcome, and it just that shift in mindset just unlocks something in you that you think, I'm going to give things a try.
That's amazing. I love that reframing your mind can have that much of an impact.
Sure, definitely. So number 7, share your opinion. You are hired for a reason. You have a unique perspective, experience. Say what you have to say. Nobody has the same perspective as you, and so be heard. Share what you think, because your voice matters. And great things can come from the sharing of, you can snowball, an idea can snowball.
There was something you just said there, I can't remember the exact wording you used, but something along the lines of just, you are inherently, like, you have a unique perspective because you are a unique person, something like that. And I love that.
And it's the same that what Princess Sarah was saying yesterday. It's so important to be you. There's nobody else that's you. So share what you think. Be heard. I think there's a lot of apprehension about what if I say too much. But don't gatekeep yourself. Don't walk on eggshells needlessly, because if you overstep, someone will tell you. So until that point, ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Well, yeah, because you're walking such a strict line if you're always trying not to overstep, that you're limiting yourself far more, and then your idea of what overstepping is gets...
Yeah, exactly. And I read a really great book by Mel Robbins called Let Them. I don't know if you've heard of it before.
I've heard of it, but I've never read it.
It's so empowering, because it's, what's the worst thing that you think people are going to think about you if you ask the question, if you say the thing? Let them, because it's not going to keep you from being who you are and doing what you want. The only person that you limit by sort of covering yourself is you. Great. So shine. Yeah. Number 8, solicit feedback and give feedback. I think celebrating achievements and acknowledging growth is so important, and particularly in a thankless role that can sometimes be the world of proposals. Asking for feedback from people is such a great way of demonstrating your growth. Get it in your hype doc, ask people what you could be doing better, ask people what's going well, because you create your own receipts by doing that. And also be grateful, thank people that have gone above and beyond, and really contribute to that culture of celebrating growth. There was one other thing that I wanted to say. Yes, so even if it's whether it's praise, get it in your hype doc, and if it's something that's constructive, get it in your hype doc and use it as a way to demonstrate in your end of year reviews and to your manager that you've taken on that constructive feedback and that you've actioned it into something. Everybody wants to be good at what they do, and feedback is such an important way of making sure that that's the way that you're going. Yeah,
I love the idea of recording that constructive feedback so that you can evidence to yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I fixed it.
Yeah, exactly. So 2 more. So the number 9 is manage your capacity. This one really is about setting boundaries. In the proposals world, I'm guilty of it myself. I've been a yes person. Yes, I'll help with that. Yes. And I think burnout is a real thing in our industry, and it doesn't serve anybody well. Over-promising and under-delivering because you've taken on too much just damages your brand, and it goes completely against what you're trying to do. You can say no to things. Managing your capacity demonstrates that you know your boundaries, you set boundaries, and that you are competent and keeping everything going in the way that needs to be done. So you can say, I don't have capacity for that right now, but I would love to get involved with something similar, or I'll let you know when I have capacity to help with that. And similarly, with self-advocacy, it's not about taking on as much as you possibly can and going out there and doing all these different projects. Be strategic and cherry pick the opportunities that align with your growth goals. So if you have a specific project or skill set that you want to develop, cherry pick a project that aligns to that and helps that you make sure that you get that opportunity. And I think that's really important, because from your manager's perspective, they don't want to have to keep putting out fires because you've taken on too much and then need help wrapping things up. It doesn't, again, give off or demonstrate your capacity or your capability as it should do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last one is communicate effectively. So I love talking about proposals, I love talking about anything really, but not everybody cares about the same things as me. And so when you're talking to your manager, you talk about what impacts them. So what are their goals? How is the work that you're doing driving their success? When you're talking about your proposals team or the work that you're doing, how is it driving revenue? How does it impact the things that matter to the person that you're trying to communicate with? And it's just that shift in perspective, is knowing your audience and how do you effectively communicate with that person to make sure that they are aware and have visibility of why it's important, why they should care about the work that you're doing or the thing that you're trying to tell them.
That's so interesting, because that's a large thing in writing proposals as well.
Yeah.
So you're just viewing whoever you're talking to as your customer in that moment.
Yeah, and it very much is. You tailor proposals, and you should tailor everything that you communicate internally as well to make sure that the right message is being heard by the people in the way that resonates with them.
Brilliant.
So that was the 10. Yeah, that's where I've got to so far.
Brilliant. I mean, I feel like I've got a lot out of this. I'm going to go and advocate for myself outside.
You can do it. I think everybody should have a career that they love, and I think that's something that I'm so passionate about, because I've forged a career that I absolutely love, and I think everyone should be able to say the same thing. My philosophy very much is that a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle, and it dawned on me maybe 2 years ago that nobody really talks about how to talk about the work that you do or the value that you bring. And naively, I still think I'm relatively early on in my career, but I've been in the bid and proposals work for 14 years, so I've seen a few things, and I thought I'm just going to share what I've learned in the hope that it helps somebody else.
Yeah, well, you've at least helped one person, so you're going to help plenty more.
Perfect, I hope so.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure.
I loved talking with you. You may notice there is a gold microphone right in front of you.
There is.
It's our new branded statue for On the Record with APMP, and it's yours to take away as a little souvenir for being one of the first people to be interviewed on our new show.
Thank you so much. Is it okay if I leave one more message to the audience?
Of course. Go ahead.
Thank you. So key takeaways for self-advocacy. It is not a one-time thing. Keep doing it. Practice it continuously. It feels uncomfortable at first, but the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. Start small, have a one-to-one with your manager, ask them what's noteworthy, ask them what you should be talking about to demonstrate your value to the wider organisation. Volunteer things in team meetings. Start small and keep practicing. You believe you deserve it and shamelessly ask for it. That's the key takeaway. Believe you deserve it and shamelessly ask for it.